Vedanta was worried about Mahi. He knew Ranvir's nature. Although Rudra also knew this. But after hearing all this from Vedanta about Ranvir, Rudra saved him and said, Vedanta, love changes a person. And I know that Ranvir is in Mahi's love. Although he is not accepting it yet, but he will soon realize this. After a while, Rudra said, I have never seen him so serious for any other girl. And I am sure that he will never hurt Mahi. Vedanta took a deep breath and said, I hope you are right. As much as I know him, he is not going to change himself for anyone. For him, his stubbornness and his passion are first. And I think he is only marrying Mahi to fulfill his stubbornness. But for Mahi, I want to prove wrong in this matter. Rudra also took a deep breath and left. Maybe he also knew somewhere that Vedanta was right to a large extent. Everyone was giving their own performance on the stage. Similarly, Ruhi, Priya and Tina's performance also got a number. All three performed on a throbbing Bollywood song. Everyone enjoyed this performance a lot. Now it was the turn of Ranvir and Mahi's dance performance. The light on the stage was dim. And in a while, the light began to increase slowly in the center. Ranvir and Mahi were both standing in their positions in the center of the stage. Ranvir held Mahi's waist and Mahi's hands were on Ranvir's chest. Both were looking into each other's eyes. As soon as the light increased on the stage, the sounds of hooting began to come from all sides. Both were performing on a romantic song. Even while dancing, Ranvir was not getting tired of mischievous with Mahi. While dancing, he said while pinching Mahi's waist, You are looking very hot, darling. Saying this, he winked at Mahi. Suddenly, by pinching Mahi, Mahi opened her eyes and started looking at Ranvir. She said slowly, At least don't do such things here. Everyone in the house is here. But Ranvir laughed at Mahi's words. In a while, the song ended. So Mahi quickly came under the stage and stood with Priya and Tina. The program was still going to run longer. That's why Rohi took Mahi with him to his room. Along with Priya and Tina also went with him. Everyone was tired of dancing. As soon as Priya came to the room, she sat on the bed. And she said to Rohi, I am very hungry now. I couldn't eat anything because of the dance. Rohi said to Priya, Come, I will order something here. Saying this, she called someone and ordered something to eat. Priya remembered that she didn't have her phone. She sat up and put her hand on her head and said, Oh, where is my phone? Did she leave it on the table where I was sitting a while ago? Priya quickly went out and said, I'll be right back. She was running holding the lehenga with both her hands. She was so worried about her phone that she didn't look at the person coming in front of her. And went and hit him directly. Before he fell, the person held him with his strong hands. Priya closed her eyes out of fear. She said in fear, Oh, am I dead or alive? The person said, You are alive and in my arms right now. It was a loud voice. Priya opened her eyes and looked at the person. As soon as she saw him, she opened both her eyes. Then, while trying to control herself, she stood up straight. Priya put her hand on her waist and said angrily, Can't you walk while looking at me? What if I had fallen? The person standing in front of her was none other than Vedant. He was going towards his room. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Priya and said, Excuse me, wasn't it because I was looking at you that you came running from the front and hit me? Priya blamed Vedant for everything and said, So, when you saw me coming running from the front, you should have moved away from me. After hearing Priya's words, Vedant looked at her with strange eyes and said, Get out of my way. I don't want to talk to a crazy girl like you and spoil my mind. After hearing Vedant's words, Priya got even more angry. She said in anger, How dare you call me crazy? Priya said, If I don't want to take my phone, she said so much that she remembered that she forgot her phone in all this. She slapped her head and said, Oh no, I was going to take my phone. Then she looked at Vedant and said, If I don't want to take my phone, then I would have told you the result of messing with Priya. Saying this, Priya ran away again. But she didn't forget to push Vedant even at night. Because of this, Vedant was 2 steps behind. Vedant shook his head and said, "Crazy girl." Saying this, he went to his room. In a while, the music program was over and Mahesh's family returned to their home. The next day was Ranbir's bachelor party, and Rudra had also invited Vedant. Although there was a lot of distance between the three of them, but earlier they used to be best friends. Rudra wanted from his heart that the distance between them should be reduced. Because he still enjoyed those days when the three of them used to spend time together. Partying together, roaming, and many such things that the three of them did together. Vedant refused to come first, but after Rudra's repeated insistence, he had to agree. The party was held in the largest night bar in the city. All Ranbir and Rudra's friends were invited there. Many of them were such friends who had a deep friendship with Vedant along with Ranbir and Rudra. And they were all together since college. In the party, except the waitress and dancers, all the boys were there, who were openly enjoying the party. Vedant was sitting in the bar drinking, and on the beat of the music, he was shaking his head and enjoying the music. Then a beautiful girl came there on the pretext of giving a drink, and on his muscular chest, she said while waving her fingers, "Hi handsome, would you like to enjoy some time with me?" She said this in her seductive tone. Vedant took a sip from his drink and said, "It's better for you to do your job, and don't bother me." That girl took her whole body and left from there. Rudra, who was watching all this from a long time, said to Vedant, "Since when did you improve?" Saying this, he also started drinking his drink. Vedant said, "Do you think we are the ones who improve?" Saying this, he winked one eye, and pointed towards the front, where hot and sexy girls were dancing. Rudra said in surprise, "You mean you are with her today?" Vedant smiled and moved towards the floor. Ranbir, who was sitting there for a long time, was listening to Vedant and Rudra, but he had not looked at Vedant even once. He took a sip of his drink while laughing, and said while shaking his head, "This guy can never improve." Rudra looked at Ranbir and said, "The way you improved yourself, I saw how those butterflies were following you. By the way, I didn't understand one thing, why didn't you give them feelings?" Ranbir said, "The one who already has Kohinoor, why would he look at any Jharkhand?" Saying this, Mahi's picture came to his mind, which made him smile. Rudra raised his eyebrows and thought, "Bro, whether you agree or not, you are in Mahi's love." Ranbir said, "Let's have some fun." Saying this, Ranbir moved towards the floor. Rudra followed him. Ranbir raised one hand and said, "Music on." At this time, Ranbir, Rudra and Vedant were on the floor, and all three were no less than a model. All three were in a state of intoxication. For a while, Vedant and Ranbir had forgotten all the distances between them. And all three were enjoying the same way, as they used to do a few years ago. All three had had a little too much to drink, so now it was getting difficult for them to walk. Instead of going home, they thought it was better to stay in a private room. All three were walking in the corridor, all three rooms were separate, but in intoxication, they reached in front of one room, and Vedant somehow opened the door of the room. Ranbir and Vedant both went into the room, while Rudra was bumping into the wall next to the door again and again. He didn't even realize in his intoxication that he was standing in front of the wall, not in front of the door. He kept hitting his hand on the wall and said, "Why isn't this door opening?" Ranbir reached inside and said, "Where is Rudra?" Vedant said, "Wait, I'll go get him." After saying this, he came out. He saw that Rudra was hitting the wall again and again. Vedant said, "What are you doing?" Rudra said while hitting the wall, "This door is not opening. How can I go inside?" Vedant said, "What? The door is not opening? Wait, I'll help you." Vedant himself was completely shocked. He also started hitting the wall. Vedant asked in his trembling voice, "You had put the key properly, right?" Rudra also said in his trembling voice, "Yes, I had put the key, but still the door is not opening." When both of them didn't come for a long time, Ranbir also came out and said to both of them, "Why aren't you two coming inside?" Vedant said while hitting his foot on the wall, "The door is open, that's why we will come inside." Ranbir said, "What? The door is not opening?" "Wait, I'll help you." Now Ranbir was not a fool. He also started hitting the wall to open the door. Then a room service person came in from there. He saw the strange behavior of the three of them. Then he saw the three of them with a strange look and thought, "What are these three doing?" Then he asked with a lot of respect, "Sir, can I help you somehow?" All three looked at him and said, "What kind of room have you given us? Its door doesn't open." He said in his mind, "Looks like all three have gone mad." Thinking this, the room service person said while shaking his head, "Okay, I'll take you to the room." Saying this, he took all three of them to the room one by one. Leaving all three inside, he left from there. All three went inside and spread on the bed. The bed was quite big, so they were not going to have any trouble sleeping. But all three were sleeping soundly. Ranbir felt someone's hands on his chest. Then he heard a seductive voice in his ear. "Oh darling, you are so hot." Ranbir tried to see with his sleepy eyes. Then someone hit his chest with a strong leg. This also made Ranbir's little sleep fly away. He lifted his head and looked around. Rudra was sleeping beside his feet in front of him. And one of his feet was placed on Ranbir's chest. The same Vedanta's hands were walking on Ranbir's chest. Seeing his behavior, it was clear that who he was imagining. Ranvir pushed both of them down from the bed. As soon as they fell down from the bed, both of them got up in a hurry. Is the relationship between Vedanta and Ranbir improving? Why did there be a gap in their relationship? Will their relationship be able to be normal like before? To know more, keep listening to Oh Baby only on Love Pulse Diaries.